In the same way that Christopher Columbus is recognized as the discoverer of the Americas, even though the presence of the Vikings on the North American continent prior to 1492 has been well established, Ralph Baer is universally recognized as the father of home video games, despite occasional claims to the contrary. It was Baer, with his little brown box, who gave kids the world over the ability to manipulate electronically generated images, thereby transforming the world into one huge virtual battlefield.
When we did all the work, it was a small idea that might wind up in a small box that you attach to hopefully a large number of television sets. There was no concept of this thing mushrooming into a gigantic industry. Who could have foreseen that? But looking back, of course, the fact of the matter is, I did have the idea, I did have the concept. I sat down in the morning of September 1st, 1966, wrote a 4-page paper. If you look at what I proposed, it's all there. Right? And not only did we have the idea, I didn't sit on it. I put a technician to work. We started working on it. Yeah. After a little while, we brought another tech on board. Bill came on board. And inside of a year's time, we were really done, only we didn't know it. For example, we were when we got to box number 6, we were playing ping pong, handball, volleyball, chase games. We didn't have to go on to the brown box. It was just us engineers saying, a couple more transistors here, and we'd get some more games going. We should have stopped when we were done with game 6. Be that as it may, we got a snowball going, which just rolled down the hill and got bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. What did we contribute? A lot of stuff. You have to admit that if I hadn't done what I did, and guys with me like Bill hadn't done what they did, it would have happened anyway. Because sooner or later, personal computers would have come in, and they would have figured it out that what guys want to do with a personal computer is play games, 90% of the time. After that comes word processing and spreadsheets. Yeah, but games are it.
The impact that video games had in the life of yesterday's children, who are today's adults, has been extraordinary. Steve Wozniak, who's the founder of Apple Computers, once said, "I'll never be able to thank Ralph Baer enough for what he has given me, and everyone else."
I met Steve about 4 years ago when I got inducted into the Computer Museum in Bozeman, Montana. And he was the keynote speaker. And we spent a couple of days together. He's such a really nice guy. I said, "What do you mean?" He said, the reason I wanted to build a computer is because I want to play games. I've been playing video games all this time, right?
In Baer's judgment, the work Magnavox did was very good, although its marketing strategy was flawed.
At Magnavox, they did a really good job. The thing that did poorly was when they finally announced the product in May of '72 and went public. They made it look at first as if you need a television set made by Magnavox to attach the Odyssey to, and that kept the sales down. And the other problem was that in those days, Magnavox had their own dealerships. You walk into a Magnavox store, everything in there was Magnavox. You didn't just walk into a radio store. There was no such thing as today's electronic stores. You didn't walk into a radio store and see Magnavox set next to a television set. You could, but most Magnavox sets were in their proprietary store. That stopped about 2 years later because it was an antitrust problem, which the government recognized and made them stop. But what did that do? It restricted sales to those stores. Instead of being in 5,000 stores in New York, they were in 50. That didn't help the sales. Even so, they sold close to 100,000 Odysseys, the one TL 200 model, in that season. October, November, December 72. And then by early 74, when it was all over, there was an antique machine. They had sold a total of 350,000, which isn't too bad. Think about that, 350,000 machines in homes. So at least 3 or 4 people in a family have looked at it, played with it. They had friends over. So multiply by 5, and you got 1.5 million people who have been introduced to home video.